Hello there, YouTube. This is the Rogue Giant Player, and I'm coming at you with a Nouvelles, the Hungry Burger deck. Um, I can't speak French in any way, shape, or form, so I'm going to be probably using the simplest version of the names. But if you want to, then I'll try. But this is the deck that came out with what was the new Dino support and things like that. I like it. It makes Hungry Burger actually a card you can legitimately play. So let's get right into it. First things first, we're playing 3 copies of Poissonnière des Nouvelles. This is the level 1 that you want access to at all times because it searches it searches either the level 1 a level 1 ritual or adds a recipe card from deck to hand, which is important because her effect to summon herself from the scale can trigger the ritual monsters, so they level up. So the main concept of the deck is the ritual monsters can be summoned using any of the recipe cards, but in addition to that, when they're targeted, they level up basically by eating up an opponent's monster. So, and then when this card you can banish one of the other effects is you can banish any number of recipes to summon a ritual monster from hand. You really shouldn't use that. You should always use the effect of search unless you already have a copy available. So let's start with 2 copies of Burablasse des Nouvelles. This is the level 1. This is the one that says, when summoned, when special summoned, they excavate the top 5, add a Nouvelles card from deck to hand of the 5, and then shuffle the rest. And then quick effect, when this card is targeted, when this card is targeted or targeted for an attack, tribute it, and one attack position monster on either field. And if you do, basically summon a level 2 or 3 Nouvelles ritual from hand or deck. So this allows you to basically level up by 1 or 2, and they all have this effect up until the level 6 in the deck, which has a different effect. So this is the one you want to summon to start your combo, especially because it allows you to dig into your deck, because it replaces itself the moment you summon it. Then we're playing just 1 copy of Confries des Nouvelles. This is the level 2. On summon, it pops a spell trap. You really don't want to. It's really not there for that. It's there because the level 1 and level 2 both have the ritual spell, list them by name, and it is a card that gives you an additional effect when you use them, and also that's a pre-prep target which you can keep recurring over and over. So we're then playing 2 copies of Poissonnière des Nouvelles. This is the level 3 of the deck, the Beast Warrior. So they're either warriors or Beast Warriors, which actually links them to a very specific recipe card. When summoned, draws a card, and then you level up. So actually, you can tribute any Nouvelles monster you control in 1 attack position on either field. So this one actually allows you to eat up other things. Or the level 1 if you have it on the board. So, but 4 or 5. We then play 1 copy of the level 4. For a Glacia des Nouvelles, this is on summon, shuffles 3 back into the deck. 3 cards in the graveyard, shuffle into the deck, and then the same level up using into a 5 or 6. Then we're playing Blasmute des Nouvelles. This is the level 5. When summoned, adds basically a Nouvelles or recipe card from deck to hand. So it's a search on summon, and then summons the level 6 from the deck. But it's you can make it a quick effect if you used a Nouvelles, if it's summoned by a Nouvelles monster effect. So basically, if you go into this by leveling up, you can use the effect to summon the level 6 as a quick effect. 2 copies of Grill de Nouvelles. This is actually really cool, so use it with any of the recipe cards, obviously. It's a level 6 warrior. What you do with it is negate all face-up effects your opponent currently controls when summoned, so it skill drains everything, or Dark Ruler no mores. And then for the rest of the turn, and then if you especially summon by the effect of the Nouvelles monster, you can tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. Quick effect when summoned. So basically, if you go this into this, you nuke your opponent's all your opponent's monsters. Otherwise, when summoned, it basically Dark Ruler no more is on summon. But then it also has the effect where you contribute an attack with some monster your opponent controls, and then summon Hungry Burger from hand or deck, which is actually kind of cool. Speaking of Hungry Burger, we do play 1 copy of it. If you guys didn't know, this is actually the first time this card has been printed holo. It's always been printed common. So, you know, if you've got one, cherish it. If you got a common one, I can't find mine. I have to look. I probably have to order a new one, but it's nice to have. There's a couple cards in here that kind of need it, but you can cut it if you'd like. But I like the fact that you can nuke your opponent's board and then go this into this. So, and then for the remaining monsters, because we're playing rituals, 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. This is pretty cool card. You can use, you can send a main deck monster to the graveyard for it. You can send Herald of the Arclight to search. And then we also play the 1 copy of Trias Hierarchia. This is actually pretty important. If you send this and then tribute Diviner, you can summon Poisson de Nouvelles from the deck off of Diviner's effect, which is actually kind of cool. So it allows you to, especially if you've already got your engine going, but you don't have Poisson, it's kind of important. You kind of got to get a monster on board to kind of keep going. This is also kind of cool. I don't play Ben 10 or anything like that because while it does search the monster and add it to hand, it's better to summon it from the deck, and this is kind of one of the ways. And it's also a card that you kind of just dump and you summon. So, and it's also a high level that you can use for the tribute fodder. So, and then we're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom as our main deck hand trap of choice for our monsters, obviously. For spells, it's kind of big. You can kind of tutor the ratios to what you need it to be. Playing 3 copies of Culinary Confrontation. This is the reason why the deck is super consistent. Also, it makes the deck very hard to hand trap or to imperm, because you give your opponent a monster, now they can't do anything because you've given them a monster. It gets around evenly, that type of thing, because you're giving them this card. This is the card that I'll explain this when we get to the extra deck, but you're giving them that card and you're bringing out the level 1, so it makes the deck very consistent. Then we're playing 3 copies of the Restaurant. When summoned, you add a recipe card from deck to hand or graveyard to hand, and then you can, once per turn, you can place a ritual from hand on the bottom of the deck to draw a card. So it's a free draw every turn, especially if you drew too many rituals. You can put the rituals, and also keep in mind this card says any ritual monster. So if you're playing other stuff like Ben 10 or some other things, it doesn't prevent you from playing them. It actually allows you to do quite a few things with it. And then during your end phase, you target 2 cards in your graveyard, including a recipe, place them on the bottom of the deck, and draw 1 card. So it allows you to recycle anything in this deck. So if you really wanted to, you could probably play 2 of this and be fine. But I like it because it's an instant search that you can just kind of push cards into the graveyard to kind of keep the deck going. So next, to start off today's menu, 3 copies. You reveal 2 Nouvelles monsters with different names from your deck, and then your opponent chooses one of them to add to hand, and then you shuffle the other, and then you add the respective recipe card. So you can't actually reveal this card because you have to have a valid target to add off of its effect. So just keep that in mind. So So 3 copies of that. This is why the deck is very consistent. So for the recipes, we're playing 2 copies of fish and 2 copies of meat. If you use Burblaze for the ritual summon off of this, you add meat recipe to hand. When you use Confreus, de Nouvelles, then you can change all defense positions monsters your opponent controls to attack position. What makes this important is that they are monsters listed on the ritual spell, which makes the next card here very, very important. But we only play 2 of each because you never need more. It's very searchable and very recyclable. And then that pre-preparation of rites. This is the reason why you don't ever have to play more than 2 copies of any of the ritual spells, because you can always add them. And also, this is also one of the reasons why you can play 1 to 2 copies of the ritual monster that they list, because you can just keep fetching them back. So you always have access to a monster to summon off of those effects. So that's all the spells. For the traps, we're playing 1 copy of Chief's Special Recipe, or Chef's Special Recipe. This is actually a really good counter trap, because you can negate a spell trap or monster effect, and then you can destroy the card if you control a monster special summoned by a Nouvelles monster, you can destroy it. And then if you summon Hungry Burger, you can actually banish this card and tribute your entire opponent's board off of this effect. And then we're playing 1 of the Staff Recipe, which is basically just another way of ritual summoning that also summons a token if you choose to use it. So, and then we're playing 3 copies of the Infinite Impermanence, because it is a really good card. So the extra deck is kind of whatever you want it to be, but the first 6 cards you pretty much have to play. And the first one is 2 copies of Pastille Coucheveur. The effects don't matter. The reason why this is in here is you need to be able to summon one of these to your opponent's side of the field off of Culinary Confrontation. If you do not have a copy of this card, you cannot use it. So what you're doing is you activate Culinary Confrontation and you summon this card to your opponent's side of the field and you eat it. So, and it's also a fairy if you choose to send it off of Diviner, if you really have to do it. I wouldn't if I were you. And then 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight, because Diviner, you play Diviner, you have to play it. And then 2 copies of Elder Entis, because it's another fairy target that you can send that pops a card. So those 6 cards are pretty much mandatory. The rest of the deck is completely up to whatever you have access to. If you want to play a couple Synchros because of Diviner, that's fine. If you want to play a couple Exceed monsters because of Herald, that's fine. I just play a lot of Links. 1 Relinquished Anima, the 1 Cross Sheet, because you play ritual monsters, that means you can draw 2 cards and then discard 2, so it allows you to filter through your deck if you use this. You summon a lot of monsters. Nightmare Phoenix, because for corner cases. IP Masquerena, because it's IP. Dark, because they're all darks. Selene, because of Dark. And then Appaloosa Access Code. And then we're playing 1 copy of the Underworld Goddess as our Link 5. You can see I'm playing no copies of Dynamundo. I don't like it, at least in this version, in this deck. It doesn't really. You don't really want to convert your your ritual monsters when you don't have to. You want to turn them into something that actually does something, which is more really good forms of disruption. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you guys like it. It's kind of cool. I wish they give us the let me find it. The pendulum version of this guy with the red head. Because we do have her, but not the other one. So who knows? But I like this deck. It's a kind of a cool concept of taking a very old school monster and then creating an entire archetype around it. While it doesn't necessarily revolve around it, it is a cool way of saying, hey, it does exist, let's play it. So thank you for stopping by, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.